All right, and welcome into the Betting Pros College Football Show. Today, we put the pieces together of our Week 3 betting cards, giving you our picks and predictions for a full weekend of great games coming our way. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, feeling good as we get further into the week and closer to some more football. Today, I am joined by a man who knows the ins and outs of the college game, keeping his foot on the gas, Terrell Furman. Terrell, how are we doing today, brother?
Oh, we're good. Hey, horns up. Horns up for my co-host. Horns up. Let's
go. Love it. Also joined by a man who nearly got hit by a hurricane this week, Scott, big-time betting Bogman. How are we feeling about this slate now that the storm has passed and we're a few days removed from our last show, Scott?
Yeah, the storm of my last weekend hopefully is over as well. I was definitely humbled, 4-1 on my Thursday night football picks on the NFL side. Awful on the college side. Betting will humble you, but the most important week is what week, Seth? The next week, sir. The next one. So let's get this one right. I'm concentrated on that, and we're rolling.
Absolutely. On today's program, we will make our picks and predictions for our 8 favorite games across the nation. And before we jump in, I did want to remind you about the Betting Pros Discord. Looking to up your game in sports betting? Join our exclusive sports betting Discord community at bettingpros.com/chat. Not only can you connect with expert handicappers who can provide free picks for the NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, player props, live betting, and more, but you can now actually participate in our weekly community picks. Cast your vote, see if your picks stack up against the experts like Bogman, like Terrell, and track your success. All right, boys, let's go ahead and jump into the Week 3 slate here with a Thursday night matchup in St. Marcos, Texas, between Texas State and Arizona State. Terrell, earlier this week, Boggs and I both leaned towards the Bobcats as the dog in this matchup. They were somewhere between 1.5 and 2 points there. It looks like both them and the total has since taken some action. Do you share the same sentiment that Boggs and I do?
Yeah, so I really wasn't impressed with Sam Leavitt for Arizona State. I just didn't really think as a passer he looked too well. He didn't take anything down the field. He was 0 for 6 on deep ball passes this season. And on third down, when he was a passer and throwing the ball, he was 0 for 4 and took a sack. And so It was too many instances where I felt like they didn't get good quarterback play. And Scatabo, what's his name? Scatabo? I don't know.
Scatabo.
Man, what a back. What a back. I mean, absolutely love him. And he's going to be the offense. I think it is. But if Texas State can defend that run game, get them into third and long situations, and try to turn Leavitt into a passer, I think they can really, really come up big on the defensive side of the ball. And then Jordan McLeod coming over from JMU looking like an absolute stud. I mean, GJ Kinney upset Baylor last year on the road. Like, oh no, the Big 12 is going to have an issue with this Sun Belt team. And the Sun Belt team does have the Big 12's number, so I like Texas State to get it done.
Okay, and Boggs, we do have an IR list for Arizona State that is getting longer and longer by the day right now, mostly kind of more the depth pieces, but compared that to a relatively healthy Texas State team, it feels like even more fuel to the fire to back Texas State. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and Texas State is great at home. GJ Kinney, by the way, recruited and played at Texas. No big deal. That was his first choice. But Texas State, one of the best G5 teams in the country, I feel like. And like Terrell said, Jordan McLeod is getting it done on offense with this team. Just smoked UTSA. And in that Arizona State game, we saw Mississippi State come almost all the way back. Right. They needed a drive at the end to win that game and put it away. So I like the over in this game, and I like Texas State. That place is going to get rowdy. Not a lot of P4 teams coming in to San Marcos, like you said. I mean, this is going to be a rocking environment for this game. It's a night game on Thursday. Right. It's going to be a lot of fun. I like Texas State to kind of put them away quickly here.
Okay, it's consensus. We like the Bobcats. Let's move to Friday night's top 25 matchup between the 20th ranked Arizona Wildcats and the 14th ranked Kansas State Wildcats. Kansas State might be the more balanced team, but Arizona is an absolute highlight factory with Noah Fifita, with Tech McMillan there as well. We've seen this line move quite a bit since opening up early this week. Arizona went from a 7-point dog to an 8.5-point dog, and the total has also ballooned up 2 points to 58.5. Boggs, do you think that the line movement is due to the possible injuries and suspensions for Arizona. Starting running back Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, he's dealing with some eligibility issues. Also Rhino, their starting left tackle, great name for a left tackle, by the way, also having some health issues there. And free safety Hunter Maldonado also might be questionable for this one heading into the weekend. So do you think it's those injuries and suspensions that's maybe pushing this line the other way?
Yeah, it could be. I also think that this game is just such a coin flip. And what I really haven't liked from what I've seen from both these squads is the defenses, right? Like Tulane torched Kansas State last week, and Mensah is a great player, but I think that was his second start. He should not be firing on all cylinders like that against a P4 opponent who, people like this Kansas State team in the Big 12. I think Arizona is a much more efficient squad, and you go from Mensah to a player like Noah Fafita and Tet McMillan. I mean, they sleptwalked through NAU last week.
Hey, that's a rivalry game.
Little
brother,
little
brother. Hey, don't disrespect the little brother angle.
Hey, look, I'm from Arizona. I've seen it all there. Like they do not like Arizona. They do not like Arizona State. Neither does anybody from Flagstaff. So, it is. You're right. It is a bit of a rivalry game there. But I also think it was a look ahead spot for Arizona because they knew they were going to be traveling to Manhattan here in this game. So I kind of like the Wildcats in this game against the spread. But I also will take the over, and that is what I really want. I want the over because we saw Kansas State and Avery Johnson put it together against Tulane. Arizona's defense has been soft, specifically against the run, and DJ Giddens is their best weapon on offense at Kansas State. And then we know that Kansas State couldn't stop the pass last week against Mensah, and now they get Noah Fafita and Tet McMillan. So give me the over in this one.
Taking the over in a Big 12 matchup, a tale as old as time here for Scott Bogman. Terrell, where do you stand?
Well, I'm going to define it. I'm taking the Arizona Wildcats, Boggs. I pieced it together that you were taking the Arizona ones, but
the Wildcats.
Wildcat versus Wildcat crime here. But look, I mean, Fafita is just, as a true freshman on the road last year, 114 and 158, 72% completion percentage, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. As a true freshman, Brett Brennan knew what he was doing when he took the job here. He has his quarterback of the future, and I just love this team. I think that the offense is going to roll. Kansas State is a soft defense, as Boggs talked about. I'm rolling with the Wildcats of Arizona.
Okay, I like it. And before we keep it moving into the weekend slate, don't forget to join our college football podcast group, sync your picks, and use the quick pick feature on the BettingPros sports betting app and get a free chance to win some prizes. Elevate your betting strategy and join the conversation today at bettingpros.com/college. On to the Saturday game, starting with the noon slate, where a lot of action in this week will take place, including the number 4 ranked Crimson Tide traveling to Madison to battle the unranked Badgers. No line movement at all in this game. I do see now a minus 375 money line floating out there for the Crimson Tide. Might be kind of nice if you're parlaying some money lines together, some favorites. The Tide are starting to get healthier, it seems, only likely missing backup wide receiver Cole Adams in this one. Meanwhile, Wisconsin does have some injury concerns growing, including starting running back Tawee Walker and left tackle Jack Nelson remaining questionable on the injury report. Terrell, does that make you more inclined to side with the Crimson Tide in this one, given that we do have a banged up Wisconsin Badgers program?
Yes, it does. And Luke Fickell keeps trying to force this air raid in Wisconsin, and that's not Wisconsin football. Stop doing it, Luke. Oh, that very inconsistent. Touchdown, punt, field goal, punt, field goal, punt. Field goal, punt, touchdown that's the game log for South Dakota. South Dakota. They couldn't
What's it gonna be against Bama, Terrell? It's gonna be punt, turnover,
punt,
right?
touchdown, punt, field goal, punt. No, I'm selling this team. Give me Alabama all the way.
Boggs, can you lay the 15.5 there with Bama as well?
Hell no. They screwed me last week. I am not taking Bama again. This game is a complete stay away. I kind of like the under, but even that I go back and forth on. I just know that Bama didn't click until the fourth quarter. Did they wake up? Or were they just angry in that fourth quarter because that game was so close?
Yeah.
This is a team that can dominate. They can go in here and embarrass Wisconsin. But I don't know that they will, so I'm staying away from this one.
Okay, I'm with you there too.
That under is a really good play. Under 50.5. I like that.
But I mean, Bama could score 50. I'm just staying away. No thanks.
Yeah, I feel you there, Boggs. I feel you there as well. I'm probably in your corner, staying away from that one. Either way, shifting to the site of College Game Day in Columbia, South Carolina, where the ranked Gamecocks will host Brian Kelly's number 16th ranked LSU Tigers. It seems like Bogman's thought of South Carolina taking some money here was correct, as they're now 6.5-point dogs in this one. The total has also been bet down 2 points to 50.5 since our earlier week show. I get that this could be an absolute whacking of South Carolina, but LSU has some major injury concerns themselves. Learned last week they'd be without starting running back John Emery for the rest of 2024. Just sucks to see that. I thought this was going to finally be Emery's backfield, and it's not the case. And also, now starting nose tackle Jacobian Guillory has a torn Achilles as well, plus starting ex-wide receiver Chris Hilton Jr. questionable with a bone bruise. Terrell, is that enough for you to want to back the Gamecocks to cover this spread against Brian Kelly's guys?
No, not enough. Not enough. I mean, Beamer. Okay, so first thing about last week, Beamer owns South Carolina. I don't know why. And this is from somebody that lived in Columbia for some years. I don't know why, but Beamer owns Kentucky. Like, he just absolutely owns Kentucky, and he has really, really good games against them. And so now this is kind of a spot that I've seen this team be at before, where they have a really, really good game on the road, step up, and then they come back home, play a caliber team, and get dominated. LSU, despite a loss, looked really, really good against that USC team. I think the LSU defense is playing a little bit better, and I'm not a believer. I think Beamer is going to be on the hot seat, and they're going to be able to force turnovers. So I like LSU to lay the points. I think this is a get up. Hey, we can't take another loss. We got to go out here and show off the resume for LSU.
How do you feel about it, Bogman? Does this Cinderella story come to an end early in the season, the South Carolina Gamecocks?
Yeah, I think it's over with. And look, South Carolina is an excellent team. They're at home. This could be a dangerous game for LSU because they are not clicking on all cylinders, specifically defensively, right? Offensively, the run game is a little weaker, like you said, without John Emery, but Garrett Nussmeier looks like the real deal, and I think he's going to make it rain on South Carolina on Saturday. I think he's going to pass all over this team. I don't think they're going to have a great pass rush because they don't blitz that much. I think they have the lowest blitz rate in the country, and against NFL-level tackles, you're not going to have a lot of success. I know Dylan Stewart is a great story for South Carolina, but I don't think they're going to be able to handle this LSU O-line. I think they're going to keep Nussmeier clean, and even when he's not clean, he's still on pressure. He's 7 of 12 with a touchdown with no turnovers. So Nussmeier has been great with pressure, without pressure. It doesn't matter. LSU's going to score. I think their defense has been miserable. The best defensive tackle, as you mentioned, has gone out. This is a strong run game from Sellers and crew. Rocket Sanders at South Carolina, over, and LSU way more on the over, though. I like the total to go over on this because LSU is going to score on anybody, and they can't stop anybody. Nicholls State scored 3 touchdowns on them last week, so give me the over in this game.
All right. Love it. The last game we're going to feature of the noon slate is the 24th ranked Boston College Eagles traveling to number 6 Missouri for a top 25 showdown. This game actually starts at 12:45 Eastern time, which if I was attending, I'd certainly enjoy. I always was someone who was kind of trying to get into Beaver Stadium last second because I having a couple too many beers at the tailgate, lost track of time. Not much line movement, though, with the spread or the total so far in this one. Both Missouri wide receivers Luther Burden, who was sick last week, and Theo Weiss, who injured his arm at the end of last week's game, are probable. However, we do have starting right guard Cam Johnson remaining questionable, and tight end Brett Norfleet as well. Boggs, I know we're leaning Missouri here. You were, I was, and we both wanted that confirmation of Luther Burden that he was going to be out there. Does the probable designation do enough for you to bet this? As of this morning, I have laid the 16.5 points.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm all over Missouri on this one. And it's because Boston College is ranked because they beat Florida State. And Florida State is going to end up being real bad this year. Yeah. It looks like. I think they might lose to Memphis this week. We took that game off because it just doesn't even look that competitive of our schedule of talking about games here. So, yeah, I think Missouri rolls in this one. I do think Boston College is much better than we thought. And I like that O'Brien has come in here with Castellanos and really improved him. And he looks like an actual competent quarterback. I think O'Brien has done the quarterback whisperer thing, but this is an SEC defense with an SEC offense, which is really the scary part. This ain't DJU. Brady Cook is gonna look really good here. So yeah, I like Missouri, kind of like the over too, but I'm on the Tigers more.
Is Brady gonna keep cooking here, you think, Terrell?
So DJU, and the reason that he can't cook is purely on DJU. The opportunity was there against Boston College, and he just couldn't connect on a lot of those passes. I think Brady Cook is a way better passer. I think that this SEC defense is going to give Bill O'Brien something to think about, and he's going to have to really, really coach up his quarterback in a tough game. I'm with you guys. I think we lay the points here. It feels disgusting laying this big of a number with Mizzou, but I just am not a believer in Boston College.
This is the new Mizzou. Come on, this is 2024 Mizzou. Get behind it.
Yeah, we'll do it reluctantly.
All right. And before we continue, I did want to tell you about Fast Break Bets. If you like betting on basketball, then join host Terrell Furman Jr. on the Fast Breaks Betting Podcast. Your daily dose of basketball betting picks in 15 minutes or less. Tune in every day for your rapid fire fix of all things basketball, from the WNBA to the NBA and to college basketball and more. And check out the Fast Breaks Betting Podcast on the Betting Pros YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Let's go ahead and move forward here to the late afternoon slate for the Boeing Apple Cup played in Seattle, where Jedd Fisch's Washington Huskies have moved to a 4.5-point favorite against in-state rival Washington State. My favorite bet on this entire slate was earlier in this week when I took Washington -4. Is that difference in half a point enough to pull you off the Huskies, Bogman?
No, I'm still on the Husky side here, and they didn't get me to my over last week, which was frustrating, but John Mateer for Washington State was like a one-man show last week against a bad Texas Tech defense. Washington State probably better than we thought coming into this season, but I think Washington also, with all of their losses and all of the turnover and all of that stuff, I think they're a lot better than we gave them credit for as well. So this is a neutral site game. I'm throwing up air quotes, but it's in Seattle. It's 5 minutes from where the Huskies play. It's going to be a big pro Huskies crowd here. I think it's going to be too much for Washington State. This is a cliche rivalry, throw all the records out the window and all that stats and nonsense, but I just think Washington is going to be a little bit too much for State here.
Terrell, how do you feel about it? Because the only new injury from either side that could concern us is Washington starting tight end Quentin Moore, who is more of a blocker, is going to be out. However, they're very shallow at that tight end position now. They've already lost 2 tight ends to injury this season.
I am going against you guys because I am taking Wazoo. It's the Apple Cup, and Washington left. They left home. They went to the Big Ten. This is an ultimate. I mean, just rivalry aside, they left. This is your opportunity to stick it to them and really, really ruin playoff chances here. I think this Wazoo team is really, really good. That defense was flying all over the field against Texas Tech, creating turnovers. And I think Mateer is a really good athlete. I would like to see him be a better passer at times, but
sure,
his mobility keeps them in the game, keeps the defense off balance. And I think that kind of backyard football is enough that they'll keep these close. This is going to be a game. It was a 3-point game last year. Give me Wazoo.
Okay. Once known as the Civil War, number 9 Oregon does battle with Oregon State at Resser Field. No line movement whatsoever. No recent noteworthy injuries either in this one. Just Dylan Gabriel in his 6th year of collegiate football. 52 starts under his belt against first season starter Giovanni McCoy. On paper, this looks like an easy call. However, I'm staying away from this one. What say you, Terrell?
Yeah, I mean, I watched Dylan Gabriel last week, and I just wasn't impressed. Like, it just feels like he's a target upgrade from DJU when you talk about the transferring and the moving around and trying to figure this together. And yes, the numbers make it seem like it looked good, but they should have lost that game. Ironically, they probably should have lost their first 2 games. I'm just not backing this team. Oregon State looks really, really good running the ball, and Ashton Jeanty tore them up last week. So I'm taking the points with Oregon State. I just haven't seen anything good from Oregon yet.
Boggs, where are you at on this one?
Yeah, look, I can't trust Oregon. I did last week, and they severely disappointed me. I am not doing it again. So this is a stay away from me in these battles, these rivalry games in the PN Dub. I mean, I probably would be on Terrell's side if they were playing that game in Pullman. On the Washington side here, I'm with them. Like, I am not. This is another team that's angry that the rival left. Right? This is an Oregon team that is not clicking specifically on rush defense, and Oregon State can run, and their defense has been playing great. I mean, San Diego State is nothing great, but to shut them out, I thought was fairly impressive. So yeah, I'm going to go with Oregon State, but none of my cash will be flowing towards this game at all whatsoever. I will be a watcher, not a bettor on this one.
Okay. All right. Sometimes it's better to sit on the sidelines. Boggs is doing that here in this one. Let's round out the program with a game that ESPN is absolutely blasting everywhere with their advertising, hoping they can get the world to tune into Kentucky getting absolutely upended by number 1 Georgia. Georgia did beat Clemson by 31 points in week 1. So Boggs, tell me, can they do it again here? Like, why can't they do it against Kentucky, who just got throttled by South Carolina? The only thing I think going in Kentucky's favor is that we do have star defensive end for Georgia, Mikael Williams, remaining questionable. Some saying he could be the top pick in this 2025 draft. Other than that, I think it's full steam ahead on the Bulldogs, yes?
Yeah, I mean, the way Kentucky played last week, that wasn't even the South Carolina win. That was a Kentucky loss. They looked miserable. They did nothing right on offense. They had broken assignments on defense on the back end. Everything was bad. I don't know how you don't take Georgia and lay the points here, because this is going to be an embarrassment. And I mean, we can broadcast the game all we want, but people are going to be leaving at halftime when it's already way in the bag for Georgia.
You laying the 24 as well, Terrell?
Okay, look, there's only one reason why you don't lay the 24, and it's the fact that the past 4 matchups prior to last year, Kentucky has covered this number and covered it pretty well. Other than that, you have no other reason to take Kentucky. Like, none. I can't do it. I cannot do it. If Georgia does not cover, I will chop it up to, hey, they just had a letdown spot, but there's no way after watching that game against South Carolina I could go anywhere near Kentucky.
Okay. All right. We're back in the Bulldogs, it sounds like. And that'll do it for us today on the Betting Pros College Football Show. We'll be back later in the week, or Boggs will at least, with his best bets and player props. Until then, like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel and podcast feed. Plus, download the Betting Pros app. For Scott Bogman and Terrell Furman Jr., I am Seth Woolcock. Thanks for watching. Take care, y'all.